It's Sunday again, which means it is Appalachian Trail Day. And as you can tell, I'm in the same outfit as last time because I'm filming it back to back. So today we're going to talk about Katahdin. So that is the northern terminus. It's where a lot of people coming from the south are always like, Katahdin, 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 because it's this elusive mountain that you're always striving for. But for me, it was a starting point of my hike. And for, I'm sure, a lot of people, it is a very scary part of your hike. It is a part where, for me, I wasn't sure if I was going to start my hike because it was so scary. I didn't know if I was going to be able to tag the top. I didn't know what was going to happen. So we're going to talk about Katahdin. So we left off where my mom picked me up from Katahdin Stream Campground. We went back to the hotel, got dinner, met some thru hikers, and then I started packing for the next day. So we knew we were only doing Katahdin the following morning. We were going to go up and back down, and that was it. And then the following day, she would drop me off for the thru hike. So I knew I only needed a day pack. I needed some winter clothes because from, let's see, it is a little over 4,000 foot incline or elevation change from Katahdin Stream Campground, which is at a little over 1,000 foot elevation. Katahdin Peak is at 5,268 feet. So 5,268 feet, and then that's about 4,000 foot elevation gain over 5 miles. So pretty steep incline, especially around a mile in. A mile in is when you start the vertical incline for 2.5 miles. Yeah. So we packed day packs, my mom and I, because my mom is hiking with me. So we have trekking poles, we have winter jackets, I have my winter pants just in case, even though I hiked in shorts. I hiked in shorts through February on the trail. It was like 10 degrees out and I'm still hiking in shorts, guys. So I'm in shorts, I'm in my hiking boots, my Solomons, because I did want sturdier boots for up north and the more bouldering areas. And then I have like a cheap winter hat on, and I have my camera and some snacks. I have food because you don't want to go on the trail even for 5 miles, 10 miles without food. So we pack our day packs. It was really hard to sleep that night, I think, for both of us. I remember I was very antsy, very anxious. I knew that this was the defining point of my hike. Yes, I had already hiked about 10 miles on the trail, but unless I touch the peak of Katahdin, it does not start my hike. So if I don't get there, I can't call myself a thru hiker because I can't just leave that part out of my hike. So there's a lot weighing on tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, I think we got up around like 3:30, 4 o'clock maybe, because we wanted to get to the park opening as early as we can. And we get there, well, actually, let me back up because there's a funny part in front of that. We go to McDonald's that morning. All great things start with McDonald's. We go to McDonald's. I get like a breakfast sandwich, and I got hash browns. I remember the hash browns because as we were leaving the McDonald's parking lot, I choke on my hash browns. Not like cough, cough, choke, like lodges in my throat. I cannot breathe. I have to stop the car, and I'm performing the Heimlich maneuver on myself because I'm choking. I cannot breathe. My face is turning purple. My mom doesn't know what to do. I eventually dislodge it, and my throat is raspy. I can't breathe. I can barely talk because my throat is so raw. And I'm sitting there in the car starting to go to Katahdin to start a 2,100 mile hike by myself in the winter. And I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing? I almost died in a car eating fucking McDonald's. Like, what if I choke by myself in the middle of the woods? Like, no one's gonna be there to help me. I'm gonna die. So I'm just like thinking, this is the mistake. I should just leave. We shouldn't be doing this. I should just go home. Eating hash browns from McDonald's. So clearly that didn't happen. I suck up my pity party and we keep going. We get to the opening of the park. We wait in line because of course there's probably like 6 or 7 cars parked out front of the gate where you have to like go in, purchase your pass, your day pass, whatever. at the guard stand. So we get there, we're waiting like 15 minutes because we did get there early, not as early as everyone else apparently. And then we all, once they open the gates, we all kind of single file, like zipper our way in the cars. And everyone was super nice. Like no one was like honking, no one was trying to push their way through. We all kind of knew like when we arrived, so that was really nice. Nothing like driving these days, especially in El Paso, Texas, where everyone's trying to kill you at all times. So everyone was really nice getting in. We paid our park pass fees. We drove to Katahdin Stream Campground, and then, and actually the woman that checked us in at the gate was the woman that told me not to hike the whole thing in one day. She asked me how my hike went. I said it was great. I should have done it all in one day. And she kind of looked at me like I was crazy, but I'm not. It would have been easy, guys. You can do it yourself. We drive to the campground. We park. There is a ranger station, like I mentioned in the last episode, where you, as a thru hiker, are technically supposed to register before you summit Katahdin. They were closed, so didn't do it. We got out of the car. People are stretching, getting ready. I go to the porta potty, the privy, as you call it. So privies are the bathrooms on the trail. It's just like wooden outhouses, but a lot of them have toilet seats and stuff, so that's a luxury that I had on the trail. I pretty much always stayed at a campground or a shelter because there were privies, and I didn't want to squat, use the bathroom every single time I went to the bathroom out there. So we will get into using the bathroom later on. That is not pertinent to this episode, but we are the first ones to kind of start hiking. There is a waterfall. It's really easy. So the hike's very easy to start with. You're kind of like, why is everyone making this out to be a big deal? You're just kind of like walking through the woods. Yeah, you're going up a lot, but you're just walking through the woods. There's a beautiful waterfall on the left as you start getting out of the woods, kind of. So you're still in tree line up until mile, like for like the first 2 miles, you're still in the tree line. And then all of a sudden the trees go away and they're just like truck size, bus size, millions of rocks and boulders all over the place. It's just rocks and boulders. There's no trees, there's no foliage, there's nothing. Just rocks. And so you see the rocks, and then far off in the distance you see a peak. And you know that's where you're going. And from here to there, it's just rocks. It's not like I'm stepping over rocks. It's like I'm reaching up and pulling myself over rocks. Some places, the rocks are so big, they have metal rebar poles drilled into the rock that you can use to hoist yourself up on. It's like little like rebar ladders. So in like little hooks, like there's like metal hooks that you would use as a foothold. Yeah. And of course we hike it on a day where there's like 60-mile-per-hour winds and you're on an exposed face on a cliff. Like you slip, you're going down, and you're not just like landing, you're like tumbling your way down the mountain, not a hill. So we start to boulder. Back up a little bit, because while we're still in the tree line, my mom has bursitis in her hip. I do as well, but hers is obviously more advanced than mine, so she was having a hard time lifting her leg up over the boulders in the tree line, which were nowhere near what they were out of the tree line. So she was already kind of struggling through that point. We had a lot of hikers pass us, which I'm not accustomed to. I'm usually the hiker passing other people, so I had to swallow my pride a little bit on the hike to Katahdin because I was doing it with my mom, which meant we were going at a much slower rate. So we eventually made it out of tree line. We made it probably a quarter mile up the mountain out of tree line, and my mom was tapping out. She couldn't do it anymore. The winds were getting so bad that she was scared for herself to continue going, not just like for pain reasons, but for safety purposes, because it was a very dangerous hike. Looking back on it, it's kind of like giving birth, I guess. You're like, oh, that wasn't as bad as it was, but in the moment, you know how bad it is. It was pretty bad. So she tapped out, and I found another hiker that I started hiking with. His name was Fallen, and Fallen, okay, that's his trail name. Fallen will make another appearance later on, which is why I am mentioning that name. Otherwise, I'm not going to be mentioning people's trail names because I don't remember them, or they weren't a big part of my story. But Fallen was a pretty big part of it. We kind of teamed up, and he was through hiking, but he's been hiking for like years, like this trail for years. He's been living on the trail pretty much and getting off to work to fund his hike. So he was kind of like my guru getting through that section, and we started like back and forth, helping each other up the mountain, cheering each other on, because it was very strenuous. But we started picking up this pace. We started passing other hikers. We eventually made it to the top, and we sat down, had a snack. He took my picture for me. I took his picture. I think I cried a little bit because I knew that I finally made it. As terrified as I was, I finally made it up. And at the top there was ice. That's how cold it was. There's a small stream. It's called Thoreau Stream. And it was frozen over. It was very cold at the top of the mountain. So we hang out, we hunker down behind some boulders because it's very windy at the top. We hear other hikers coming up, hear them cheering, they're making their ascents, they're reaching the peak as well. So it was extremely exciting for everyone on the mountain. There's not a frown anywhere. Everyone's got a huge smile on their faces. And then we start like jumping our way down the mountain. We're just flying over boulders, hopping over them, jumping down. We're just flying through the mountain at this point. And we get down, and once we get like quarter mile into tree lines where I see my mom. My mom's, of course, made a friend. So I teamed back up with her. We finished the rest of the hike back to Katahdin Stream Campground, which I do go to the ranger station after I complete the hike, and then I do check in. And they, of course, like everyone else, thought I was insane for starting my hike. They didn't believe I was doing a through hike. They didn't believe I was starting at this point. They didn't believe I was hiking south in the winter. And like everyone else, I proved them wrong. I mean, it was very difficult, but it was great being on that side of the trail when I did it. So finished at the ranger station, checked in, we went back to the hotel. The following day, my mom dropped me off, which will be the next episode. We're going to talk about the first day on trail, probably the first couple days, but we're going to leave it here. So at this point, I've hiked all of Baxter State Park. My dog Riley can now join me on the hike until we get down to Bear Mountain, which is in New York, because there are 3 sections on the trail where you cannot bring dogs: Baxter State Park, Bear Mountain State Park, and the Great Smoky Mountains. So we will get to those points at some point in this story adventure. But right now, we're going to leave it here at the end of Baxter State Park, and we'll pick it back up here next time. See you later.